can we not declare Tupac Shakur the most important rapper, poet of all time?
Yes, we can. I would say that most important and most influential. I mean, because he still resonates in so many ways today with young people, older people. The way that the music and the culture have evolved still can be traced back to his influence. Um, and he's just an artist that truly embodied all of the natural elements of hip hop. From the lyricism and the voice, the social and political consciousness. Um, all of the key elements of hip hop, he really achieved a balance like no other artist was really ever able to do.
And it's surprising, but in his short life, Tupac sold 75 million records. And his music was so special, it was even given a Broadway show. So, what was so unique about his music that you think it made it connect with fans around the world?
Um, just his authenticity. I mean, authenticity, I think, is the single most important ingredient in the hip hop culture from the beginning. Just being authentic, um, and so he just spoke to the people, first and foremost. He spoke to the people, to the community. That was most important to him, even as he elevated, as hip hop became more commercially viable in those years when his career began. He still maintained, his ties to the community, went back to the community, always kept, the people in the inner city communities at the forefront of his mind and his music, and spoke to them. I think that's the thing that really gave him that kind of base that has proven to have him last for this long.
Yeah, he's still revered, and you have called him the most important hip hop artist of all time, as we talked about. But he was complicated too. You know that giant tattoo that said "Thug Life." That was across his stomach. As we said, a poet. He loved Shakespeare and the ballet. He was known for being vulnerable with songs like Dear Mama. Can you talk a little bit about the complexity of this man? And indeed, because we talked about it earlier, relationships with women, his mother, Jada Pinkett Smith, others, his sister.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think again that's what speaks again to hip hop. I mean, hip hop was as it was emerging in the '80s and '90s, a very complex art form that reflected a wide range of emotions and perspectives and feelings. In some ways, some of that has diminished over the years. Tupac's passing, I think, has had a lot of impact on the change that's going on in hip hop. But a lot of times, people pigeonhole hip hop into a very small, kind of category or in a very narrow way, and don't think about or understand that it is complex. And like you said, he represented the anger and the frustration, but also the love and the respect for women and for his mother. Um, and so, yeah, I mean that just speaks to his appeal, was his ability to be real and to reflect a wide range of emotions that all human beings go through, um, but oftentimes aren't associated with hip hop, where we see a lot of very negative, narrow,
Hmm.
stereotypical portrayals, in the media.
Yeah, and then just to follow up, because there's this conflict rather, this push pull when it comes to women. He was empowering. He was about strength with women. Yet there was the sexual assault conviction. He was adamant he didn't do it. He was convicted. But when you think about hip hop and so much that runs through it when it comes to portrayals of women, um, and yet he was right there in so many ways, lifting up women in his song and his personal relationships. Can you talk more about that, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, again, that's some of the things that I think we lost when we lost him. I think had he lived, hip hop would be very different today. The world would be very different today. That's how important and influential he was and would be. Considering again he was so young when he died, so he had so much more to offer. But yes, I mean, hip hop in a lot of ways has become much more narrowly focused, and you have seen a lot of these, uh, negative stereotypes and negative imagery, kind of become the focus of the music in a lot of ways, materialism and misogyny and things like that. And I think had Tupac lived, his influence would have caused the further, kind of unpacking of those emotions and feelings and perspectives that have been out there in the community over the years, and would have helped to evolve it further than we've gotten today.
Well, still, speaking about that influence, it still seems to be felt in some of the music we hear today. But how do you think Tupac's music does influence some of the artists of this generation?
Um, in a lot of ways, I mean, I think his style and his attitude, you continue to see resonating through a lot of the artists today. I mean, the whole trap music, genre that is dominant in hip hop today, you can kind of credit to Tupac. I mean, the artist that pioneered the trap movement from T.I. and Young Jeezy and Gucci Man, folks like that. I think they all would credit Tupac as an enormous influence on their music and their careers, and as I said, that style and genre has become the dominant genre today. So everything from the fashion, the attitude, the way that he diversified into acting and other fields. You see all of that going to influence what's going on with artists today.
He was a true genius. Dave Mace, thank you so much for starting your day with us and helping us recap and celebrate the life of Tupac. We can stay here for hours talking about this, but we
Yeah.
appreciate your time. We'll continue celebrating him all day on BNC.